how can you develop your ability to make good judgments, right?
Right.
This says, count the cost, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I know that we're born to be responsible. We're born with responsibility. And one of the primary responsibility, of course, is to yourself, to your family. But even though I say primary, but it is said to be a good steward over that which has been created. To be a good steward over it.
Mm-hmm.
And anything that we go about doing, as far as the benefits from this creation, we spend out of that substance uh, for the good,
Mm.
you know. And what I have found out is the attitude is that which was kicked out of the God. Because the attitude not only that we have about ourselves, but the attitude that we have about creation
Right.
is not a good attitude, even when it comes to how we interact with ourselves. So it says here is that in this book it says people will be more willing
Mm-hmm.
uh, to accept. Because when I think of will, I think of a behavior. He said, not my will, but thy will. That's a behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Be done. But be more willing. Willing is on a continuing basis. It means the manner in which you behave to accept now. Which means that the first thing you have to do is a principle that says you have to learn how to accept yourself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And whatever it is that you have to um, do the best to work with what you have. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And if we have the right attitude, now how do we develop the right attitude? There's two types of attitude. There's it's a pessimist attitude and there's an optimist. We know that an optimist look at every difficulty as an opportunity. And a pessimist look at every opportunity as something that is difficult. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it is the attitude or a mindset that we would have. But what it said, there's this willing on a continued basis of acceptance, of accept what you say. Now we know what a person says must match up with what he or she does. And I realize that what we say has to be about our word, and our word has to be our bond, and that's integrity. So if they think now, talking about someone else, if they think you show the ability now, if you got integrity and if you come with something that people do not believe in what you're saying, but you got integrity, you a trustworthy person. They're going to trust you. They don't care. They man, I ain't doing that. But let me tell you something. They can count on you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's maturity. You know what I'm saying? That's maturity.
Yeah.
And I think that it says that we need, as we don't say, be mature in the body. You're talking about the body of Christ. I'm talking Christian stuff now.
Mm-hmm.
Be mature, which means we have to develop this sense of maturity.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Beyond, as I always say, go beyond race, go beyond class, go beyond gender, go beyond religion, go beyond economics, go beyond politics. You know what I'm saying? Go beyond these things. So in this ability to, because, we are in the aim, it says, that this aim, it says when we talk about the word sin. Now, teaching said that no one was born into sin. We're born of dignity and nobility. But the thing is, though, that the sin in the Hebrew sense, we know is shatar, which means missed the mark. What that is that it's moral culture decline. It is recidivism. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It is a lack of accountability. You know what I'm saying? So the responsibility that has been given to us is to be accountable. You know what I'm saying? So, what it means, we have to deal with and face the consequences of our actions. You know what I'm saying? And people will, and if you make good judgments, good, because if we're here, not only we're here to be productive, says be fruitful and multiply. Of course, that has nothing to do with sex, but people always look at it as sex because that's the attitude that they have about it. But we're here to be productive beings because you are measured by what you produced.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like if you have children, what quality of children that you have produced?
That you produce. Right.
Huh?
Right.
If you taught them to be responsible human beings, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you taught them to be responsible human beings, that means you have laid a foundation down.
Right.
Now, other outside influence may come in and try to make them deviate, say train up the child, he or she should go, she would never depart. But outside influence comes in and deviate if the foundation is not as strong as it should be. You know what I'm saying? So what's your take on that?
Right. Definitely measured by your productiveness.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people don't get. They measure themselves by things that they have. Like they'll look at their car. They drive an expensive car.
Mm-hmm.
That's the measure of their work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like or they measure their success or their things based on those particular tangible things. Like whereas though it was always a African tradition where a man was measured by the type of family that he produces.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So if you have eight or nine sons, they would say you are rich.
Mm-hmm.
Because not financially rich, but rich because you kept the family name going for all them other generations. So now you're viewed in that particular village as a rich man.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily saying that you have money. So their wealth system was based on that measurement of productivity.
Yeah. And I got the human value now.
Yeah,
Talking about the human value, because there's some people who don't have any children at all.
Yeah. So
but
then
yeah.
if you don't have any children at all, you're measured by your fruit.
Mm-hmm.
And also you might not have produced physical children to carry on the family name, but you might have sons that you taught the word to.
I got you.
And that's still your fruit.
Yes, sir.
Like the guy who you just gave an answer to the other day.
Mm-hmm.
You answered a perplexing question for him,
Mm-hmm.
and he was so blessed by it. He was like, you know what? I got to give this brother something. That right there is fruit. So now anybody who comes across this brother's path, and with that same question that he asked you, he will always think about you. Yeah. He will always think about the fact that you answered this for him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like so much so to the point, like to this day, I got mentors and things that God sent along the path of life that who our paths have crossed. And even whenever to this day, if I'm answering a question for somebody or I'm reminded of something that reminds me of them, instantly my mind goes back to, my mentor said this.
Now think about that in this terms too. It says here now, do these things in remembrance of me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying. So I look at that because for me, I always base my thing on humanity.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And remembrance of my humanity,
right.
Remembering the way and how we interacted with one another.
Right.
Now, speaking of and transitioning now in that regard, but still building on what we're saying is that. The three guys or the three people who came to Job, right? And Job got to talking.
Right.
And this one guy came, I think I forgot his name. I can't recall what his name was. But he said, now you listen to me, Job. Now, in other words, he was telling Job now, that me and you on equal terms. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because of our humanity. You know what I'm saying? Now, don't get it twisted. I'm using that word. Don't get it twisted that you think that you're here and I'm there. No, we're on equal terms. Because people will listen to you when they see that you're on equal terms.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we're talking about one's humanity. You know what I'm saying? So that's very powerful. But of course, in the society in which you live, I think Dr. King said this, and you come in after this one, when he said that we do an injustice that when we relate to one another based upon our material wealth.
Exactly. And that's what this society does now. They base everything on wealth. Happiness to them is having a bunch of money in the bank. that's their form of happiness, like tangible. If they can look at the bank account and see a bunch of dollar signs, that means I'm happy. You know what I mean? That's how they view it.
Now back to this again. Now, talking about the African, I realized that there was a brother who miscalculated what made the Africans happy. They didn't have, if they didn't have much, but what they had was self-determination.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? That was a right of theirs, the self-determination.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's good. Yeah. And the happiness thing, I realized that happiness is the joy that you feel when you are in pursuit of your potential. You know what I'm saying? Now, I realize that we are here to reach our full potential. That's the true purpose. What is that? That means we move from sympathy to empathy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's a purpose, because that which has been given to us is this human emotion. We are this instinct. The thing is that which really possibly distinguish us from other animalistic existence is that we have the ability to control these instincts. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
To master them. You know what I'm saying? Now, how do we master that? It says all scripture is given us everything is given us through the scriptures that we may show patience. I forgot that word, I think Romans 15:4. Patience through the scriptures. Now, that means that once you have this patience, you become very competent. Right. Because circumstances makes us other than ourselves. And it says that anything that you need to master is master temperance, which means self-control.
Self-control.
Yeah, that's a serious piece there, though, man.
That's it. It's powerful.
That's a serious piece, man.
Yeah, and while you say that, it put my thoughts along the mindset of that's why having that connection with God is vital. Like in the sense of when you get connected with Him, you get connected to that belief system. You get connected to that faith. So that faith being that substance of things hoped for, but the evidence of things that's not seen. So the closer you get to Him, the more you start talking like Him. Because you know how they say birds of a feather flock together.
Yeah.
It's like the more you hang around something, the more you become like that what you hang around. That's why they say, like, if I really want to know who you are, yeah, let me find out who your friends are. Who is it that you hang around? You know what I mean? 'Cause that will give me some indication of who you are.
Well, and now I didn't want to necessarily interject this in because it says that iron sharpens iron, right?
Right.
So it's like you want to be around somebody who are sharper than you, because that means you are sharper than each other.
Right.
But then that is difficult in the society because people get into these ego trippings. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If somebody know more than me and so forth, but no, man. We're here to sharpen each other.
Sharpen each other.
It's what we're here to. Let me say, if I be lifted from the earth, what?
I will draw.
I'm talking about one's humanity. Uplift one another. Uplift the humanity of one another, man.
Exactly.
Then people would draw. We would draw people to this model. You know what I'm saying? Of encouraging, of enlightenment, of enlifting, going beyond race, going beyond class, going beyond. I must become all things to all people. You know what I'm saying?
And bringing that value, because a lot of they don't value it. So we got to bring that value to them. Like especially with this city, it's ironic that this city is known for crabs. Mm-hmm. But they also have a crab mentality.
Wait, the state.
Right. The state. Known for crabs, but they got a crab mentality as well.
Yeah. Now think about this here now. Yeah. Now, you said the crab mentality, somebody pulling you down, but the state represents a condition.
Right.
We know that this state, not only is an agriculture state, but and then this state in Virginia, historically now, since we've been here, due to the colonies, was the first two that created a law that says that if a child is born of a slave, of a woman that's a slave, he will be a slave for life. So what I'm talking about, Remember again, we're talking about the mentality and the attitude, because you can
Right.
tell the psychology of one's mentality by what he or she produces, or by what he or she, who he hangs around, and for what purpose that they're hanging around them for.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Now, you can hang around a brother who we think that his character is not all that good, but at the same time, if your character is good, then you deal with people what? Accordingly.
Right.
And that's more important. That's important too. But yeah, so state represents the condition
Yeah.
of a people. We talking about, and even the language. If you deal with horsepower, that's a language of an animal. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It's the language that they use. You know, it's challenging within itself, man.
Yep.
So there's a lot of work when it comes to with people. In closing, when it comes to people, will be more willing to accept you. Now, remember, they're talking about reconciliation. The first, we need to reconcile, become a friend again to ourselves.
Exactly.
Before we become a friend again to anyone else. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And accept that. And I think Dr. King said something, 3 dimensions of a complete life, but he's talking about the first principle is the principle of self-acceptance. But one guy can do math faster than him, and the other guy couldn't do it as fast. So he had to accept his tools. So and when I think of mathematics, I think of instruction. How do you assess the unknown, but you must first calculate that which is known.
Yeah, which is known.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
And
it.
you're known by your what? Your works.
Your works.
Yeah.
And that's powerful, right? Like I said, so they keep that crab mentality. Like every time that they want to pull whoever's trying to get to the top, they want to pull that other person to the bottom of the barrel. That's what we always say. It's like they develop that. You see it like with these young guys that's hustling on these corners.
Mm.
If you're a hustler on another corner and you're making more money, their goal is I got to take you out because you're getting more money
But let's look at this. But let's look at the psychology of that. Anytime, and of course we know we're in this society, we know all that is by design. But when I think of a corner,
right,
I think of when someone is on a corner, what they are really crying out for is justice, because a corner represents a form of a block, and that represents justice.
exactly.
So I'm talking about this dealing with the psychology.
dealing with the makeup.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So I tell you, man, and it's something else about that crab thing that I don't. There is another way that I look at it, but I just can't think about it right now. You know, other than I'm not the saying that that the crab is pulling down, but there's something else to that I just can't pinpoint it right now. But yeah, man. So and I think of the symbolism of the strength of the crab, the claws that he has, just to grab hold. When you just to see that you going somewhere.
Yeah.
And
like his purpose is to keep. He's a bottom feeder.
Yeah.
So his purpose is to keep the ocean clean.
Well, then that reminds me of the statue. I believe it was, I don't know if Nebuchadnezzar or not. How the bottom was made of clay. Elijah Muhammad talks about that. If the foundation is made of clay.